All right, so some of you might have been following that I've been dealing with long COVID. So that's lingering COVID symptoms long after you have your acute COVID infection. So the only reason I'm talking about this because I want to share information with you guys. Maybe I'll help some people out there. Not that I have all the answers, but this is what's going on. So I got the long COVID one night, months ago, woke up, cold sweats, never had that. The only other time I had that is when I took a vaccine, and then the next day or that night after having had the vaccine, I was in cold sweats and it was really bad. Never had that in my life before. And the second time I had that was just maybe, 4 months ago. And so I assume I got COVID. I never got tested, but that's a pretty decent assumption since the only other time I had that night of sweating, literally being woken up by it, was after I think it was the Pfizer vaccine. Anyway, this is not a debate about vaccines. I'm not here to talk about this. This is talking what happened months after that night of sweating. So I have the classic symptoms of long COVID: extreme fatigue, neuropathy, which is basically pins and needles feeling in the arms and the legs. For me, it was more or less focused on the arms. Sometimes I would have dizziness. Sometimes I would have trouble swallowing. This went on for months and months and months. A few months. So I decided, this is, I was wondering if it was because of extreme weight loss, because I was fasting, but I think it's long COVID. So whatever the cause may be, here I am. Tingling in the hands and the feet and so on is neuropathy, is some type of nerve damage. Dizziness, swallowing issues could be damage to your nervous system as well. So this is classic long COVID system. Well, classic, I shouldn't say. It is common long COVID symptoms. Anyway, so I decided to start looking into what I can do to address this. I went to a couple of medical doctors, general practitioners. This is what they said. So you have to find specialists, but I'm up here in Canada. Finding specialists, it's like you gotta spin on your head, juggle, spit nickels, and talk to some friends and pay off some people. I'm exaggerating, but it's not easy in our medical system, unless you have something really, like you get in a car accident, you have a heart attack or something. It's not easy to see specialists in Canada. It's just a situation. So I started using I started paying private doctors just to get some blood tests done and so on. Although I did get my blood test done through the public system. Anyhow, long story short, so here I am. After gone through that, I said, okay, I'm just going to take matters into my own hands. I'm not one who likes to take pharmaceuticals. For me, pharmaceuticals, last resort. So first thing you do is I looked at vitamin deficiencies. What are the certain, this tingling and so on, what could be causing that in terms of vitamin deficiencies? So I started getting into all the vitamins. So I started getting into, how can you see this? Magnesium as one. That's supposed to help. B6, and I'm not telling you to take any of these. I'm just showing you what I'm taking based on my research. Helps with all these things. Organic black seed, that's another thing I'm taking. Again, these are not drugs, these are just supplements. Turmeric, supposed to help. Of course, the almighty D3. Now, if you take the D3, it's fat soluble, so you better get some K2 to take with it. So you take the K2. So I feel like my great-grandmother now. I remember she used to have a pile of drugs she had to take in her older age. When I remember I was a teenager, I'd look at it, I go, oh my God, look at all those drugs. So here I am. But these are not drugs, these are just natural supplements. So since I'm in Canada, naturally I had to get something with hemp in it. This is supposed to be really good for the nerves. Alpha lipoic acid. Apparently you got to take this for months before it starts having impact. If you have nerve damage, you may want to look into that, including the B12, the B6. Of course, the vitamin C, of course. And then I went and saw a TCM practitioner, a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner. So we got into the ginseng. Now, he is treating me according to the principles of traditional Chinese medicine, which works on a totally different premise than Western medicine. Now, I have had great success with TCM 30-odd years ago when I had a chronic blood disorder that made me bleed like this, and it was pretty bad. And through TCM, which is herbs, lots of herbs, diet changes, lifestyle changes, I was able to fix that. Despite the fact all my hematologists were telling me, no, it's all garbage. It worked. I'm not telling you what to do, I'm just telling you my experiences. So TCM is something I am doing now as well. I've showed in other videos. I'm now getting herbal preparations. I have to cook these things every other day, drink a cup a day. It tastes like crap most of the time, well, all the time. And let me tell you, so I've been doing this for a few weeks now, and gradually, step by step, my energy levels seem to be improving. My neuropathy, the neuro tingling sensations is slowly diminishing. Dizziness spells is far, far less. Now, I don't know if it's because I'm taking all these vitamins, a whole bunch more, and supplements. I'm also eating very natural foods. I'm cutting out, not 100%, but I've cut out my carbs by 95%. I'm talking like breads and sugars. Sugars, 100% cut down. Coffee, down 90%. Carbs, breads, down 90%. I find when I don't eat carbs, my tingling in my hands and feet diminish quite a bit. I find when I don't drink coffee, things diminish. The body seems to calm down. Coffee apparently will aggravate the nervous system, the caffeine. The sugar, of course, will do it no good as well. So I've done all these things, and step by step things are getting better and better and better. Now, again, it could be that it was just going to get better on its own without any dietary changes. Perhaps it's getting better because of one supplement or a combination. I don't know. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. Another thing that I just started a couple of days ago, as you may know, is I started with the, I can never remember, the Hyperbaric Chambers. I call it the Michael Jackson tube. They put you in this giant plastic tube and they seal you up and they pressurize it and then they flood it with oxygen. And the idea is to flood your body with lots of oxygen, and this is nothing new. This has been around for decades and much longer in Eastern Europe and Europe. And basically, by flooding your body with oxygen, it gets the body, it can supercharges your body to cure itself. So it's used very commonly with people who have like diabetic wounds, where they have a cut on their body that just won't heal. And so they put them in these chambers, and their body, with all that extra oxygen being pumped into their systems, the body heals these wounds that wouldn't heal otherwise. And a whole bunch of other things as well. Traumatic brain injury, football players are now doing it a lot, and you know, people with really bad brain problems, they get cured with these things, with this treatment. So it's not voodoo, it's not cutting edge. You can find videos from the Mayo Clinic, very prestigious medical institutions in the US and around the world that use these things. This is par for the course. So in my research in terms of dealing with neuropathy and dealing with long COVID, I found that people are having great success with these, I always say it wrong, hyperbaric chambers. So I said, what the hell, I'm gonna try it out. So I did my first session yesterday, and it was fine. They stick you in the tube. The first time they didn't max it out. They increased the pressure on my body by 30% above normal pressure, flooded me with oxygen. It's fine. You're in there for about 90 minutes, 15 minutes to pressure you up. 60 minutes at that pressure, 15 minutes to decompress, and then you're out. I felt tired that afternoon. I had to sleep in the afternoon, apparently very common. Next day, how did I feel? I felt, it's again, every day I seemed to get a little better, but I noticed my body was reacting differently. Like instead of the pins and needles, those kind of needles weren't as sharp anymore. They were more dull. So it wasn't like prick, prick, prick with sharp needles. It was like poke, 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 poke with light needles, if that makes any sense. Again, I'm not saying the chamber did that. I'm just saying that's what happened. So I just did another one today where they upped me from 30% above normal pressure to 80% above normal pressure. And again, I was in there 15 minutes to pressure me up, 60 minutes in there, 15 minutes to depressurize myself. I'm out again. Today, I feel more relaxed even, I feel more relaxed. Felt I need to take a little bit of a snoozer, not as much, but again, the body seems to be more relaxed. So that's all. I was told when I started this thing with the hyperbaric chamber that it would take 3 days before I start really feeling anything. So I don't know. So you can go look online if you have long COVID or you got nerve damage, neuropathy. Hyperbaric chambers seem to work well in terms of treating these things and pretty quickly. Again, this is not cutting edge technology. It's been around for decades. Very large organizations, well respected, use it. What they're discovering these days, according to what I've seen online, is that they know that hyperbaric chambers will help with external wounds, like I talked about the aforementioned, the diabetic wounds that won't heal, and they put them in the chamber and they heal. And they're saying, well, tissue is tissue, cells are cells, right? So they're saying if it can heal a wound on the outside of the body, if you flood the body with a bunch of oxygen, it can heal on the inside of the body. So they're seeing that people with a traumatic brain injury, and I saw some people who had long COVID, they do a few treatments in the chamber, and next thing you know, they're doing pretty good. So I don't know what your situation is. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you my experience. I'm, again, releasing this just so that you have, it's like a diary and information you may want to use or not. In terms of traditional Chinese medicine, again, this is something that I have a lot of faith in because of my own experience going back over 3 decades. Not only did it fix up my blood disorder, which I was told by several hematologists that it was chronic, meaning it wasn't going away. I also solved several other problems, well, a few other little problems, not so little actually, other problems I had with my health, just by simple suggestions that at the time the doctors couldn't tell me. Like for example, I was 18, my entire life I would have chronic sinus and throat infections every 3 to 4 months. Like clockwork. All my life, they would give me penicillin, go away, 3 or 4 months later, come back. It was real rotten. It was very unpleasant existence. But whatever, I dealt with it. So I see Dr. Yu, the TCM practitioner from China, from Beijing, and he was also a Western doctor. And he said, milk no good for you. No milk, no cheese. It go away. So I stopped drinking milk, stopped cheese, stopped yogurt, and sure enough, within 30 days, that was it. It's been 30 years since I've had a ear, nose, and throat infection. It was just simple as that. As Dr. Yu used to tell me, he used to say, for some people, peanuts are no good, and for some other people, peanuts are fine. TCM works on the principle, traditional Chinese medicine works on the principle that everybody's body is a little bit different. So what may be good for you may not be good for somebody else. Also, your body changes. When I was younger, my body was, how should I put this? It was aligned in a certain way, and so my symptoms were always related to the same base misalignment in my body. Now, in traditional Chinese medicine, that misalignment is referred to as the balance of yin and yang, hot and cold. In modern medicine now, they use a different term, but means pretty much the same thing, homeostasis, balance of systems. Well, they don't do the hot and cold in Western medicine, and hot and cold in Chinese medicine is not the same. It's not temperature, it's something else. But anyway, so my current TCM practitioner, he's again trained in Shanghai, this guy. He said, I talked to him, yeah, I said, in the past I had a predisposition towards too much yang energy, too much hot. And he goes, well, that was 30 years ago. Now it's different. So your body would change over time. So that's why I take certain herbs, but the herbs are dialed into my mix on a weekly basis based on him taking my pulse and looking at my various indicators in my body. And he makes that prescription, if you will, based on that. So it's not like a special herb that you take in TCM. It's a special set of herbs that you take based on the current circumstances. That set of herbs may be good for you now, but in 6 months from now, it may not be good for you at all. So you have to find a true practitioner in this stuff, somebody who's trained preferably from China. That's my recommendation, or something you can trace. Anyhow, there you go. That's my experience with long COVID. I'm always a believer. Of course, I'm biased based on my experience in my teenage years. Before going to pharmaceuticals, try to use natural methods to heal yourself, and that comes down to diet, lifestyle, vitamin supplements. Although Dr. Yu used to always tell me too that vitamins in their natural form are always better than, well, almost always better than in the pill form. So he would say, for example, for nerves, the vitamin B6, B12, B1, this is very good for your nervous system. Pills are fine, but he would argue, and again, you decide, he would argue better to get those the B6 and 12 and so on from food than to get it from pills, because he says the body has evolved over time to absorb these nutrients from the natural sources. So sometimes to activate a particular vitamin or a particular nutrient, it needs the other compounds that usually come with it. So one thing I get is Nutritional Yeast. You can get this on Amazon. It tastes like cheese, but it's super healthy for you. It's filled with vitamin B12, B6, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So you may want to do that instead. So you may want to look at natural foods as the sources of the vitamins as opposed to pills. Again, pills can be very useful as well, but you have to understand that. So classic example, people tell you if you're going to do D3, which you should do, especially if you're in a sun-starved part of the world, you don't get too much sun. D3 coupled with something like K2, because I think you need the fat so that your body can absorb the D3 more effectively. I hope that makes sense. So that's it for this vlog. Yeah, you want to look at hyperbaric chambers as an option, perhaps. Again, I'm not telling you what to do because I don't know your condition, but I'm telling you, based on the research, I'm hearing it's very good. For me, it's always second day. I will let you know how it goes in future updates on this vlog. I'll tell you if it's good or not. I don't know, There's a cost to it, of course. I have to pay. In Canada, we do have a universal health care, but it's a two-tiered system where there's a bunch of stuff where, yes, you can get it in the public system, but it could take months and months and months before you get it. And so I don't even know if I could get the hyperbaric treatments because what I'm doing it for is non-traditional, of course. So I don't even know if I could get it in the system for free. So I'm paying for it. It ain't cheap, but fortunately, when you got money, that's what money's for, right? Health before wealth. 100,000%. I always say this, I'd rather be poor and healthy than rich and sick. Of course, if you can be rich and healthy, that's even better. All right, I hope this is useful to you. Let me know what you think. Comments below. Please, no debates about that's a whole different issue I'm not going to get into here. Yeah, no debates about that. So take the information for what it is. You decide. but I'm trying to save you some time here in research. Ciao, ciao.